SuperDave here with another SuperDave review. I have the power! It's SuperDave here with another exciting Masters of the Universe Origins cartoon collection review. And that's right, I don't do all of these, but I have to do Orko. Oh man, is this gonna be the best Orko action figure ever? Well, we're gonna find out right now. There's the 40th anniversary of She-Ra, the seal up there, as you can see it. And then there is that new packaging that we've been seeing with this wave. And you can kind of see Orko's hiding up underneath his hood a little bit there. We'll look at that closer. But we also get an extra head to make him Orko's uncle, which is so cool. That's the reason I picked up two of these. And then there are the two figures showing in that beautiful artwork on the back. Return of Orko's Uncle, which is actually a episode in the Filmation series. But isn't that beautiful there? Comes with a comic book. You can see how to exchange everything there as it demonstrates on the back. There are the action figures in this wave of cartoon collection there. So we're going to go ahead and break open this awesome Orko cartoon collection action figure over here in Eternia right now. And here we are on the planet Eternia with a lot of the gang to take a look at our new cartoon collection, Orko. He comes packed with some things to make him two different action figures. So let's first look at his accessories. And unfortunately, he only comes with sets of hands and only one hat. I kind of wish they had given us like a red hat, but in two hats, so we'd have one for each head. But anyway, you can share the hat. But he is looking really good, very cartoon accurate, and he comes with the little hero medallion there, go around his neck, which is so cool. Comes with this really nice low profile stand, which is really good because in the past we've gotten some stands that scream out, I'm here, and this one's really low profile, so you don't really hardly even see it. It's even got a little bit of an angle to it, so it's kind of scooped, so it's kind of look like he's swishing that way. I love that. Love how the bottom of his clothing there kind of has that wrinkly looking, design like he always did in the cartoon when he was floating in the air. Looks so dynamic. And then he comes with a second head with the beard and the head that allows him to be Uncle Montork. And that is so cool. Uncle Montork in the house. And so that is really neat. And also our Orko, being he's an Origins. Of course, we get this little instruction manual there, which we don't really need that. But he also comes with a comic book, which looks like centered around She-Ra. It's called Future Tense. What does it say there? Part 5 of the Horde Invasion Saga. Cool. So that is neat. And so you see that. And we're just excited about looking at our Orko. So now let's check out Orko's Articulation. Is this the very best Orko we've gotten? Get ready to find out. All right, let's bring our Orko as he floats all the way in here. And he's looking good. Dim the lights just a little bit here so we can see him really good. I don't know why they go with this weird orange. In the cartoon, as you see there, he doesn't really have an orange hat like that. So maybe they just were reusing the hat from the original Origins Orko. But as I've showed you in some other reviews, I actually painted my Orko's hat, and I like it better, and I may do that to one of these, but we'll look at that a little bit more in our comparisons. But first of all, let's take a look at his articulation. He's able to look up about that much. He's able, if you can get his head down without moving his hat, that's going to be the tricky part here, is moving the head without the hat. He'll be able to look down really good, see? And he'll definitely get some head pivoting, which a lot of the Origins characters get better head pivoting than even, you know, our Masterverse figures a lot of times, which is kind of a shame. But that's interesting. And just as another point of articulation, his hat does move, which is kind of weird with his ears there. You know, his ears are moving with his hat instead of with his head. But anyway, and even that scarf moves, but I guess that's because, you know, again, all of this is removable, so you can make Uncle Montork. All right, so let's go ahead and move that off to the side so you can see that that arm will go 360. He has a elbow swivel, single jointed elbow, which gets almost 90 degrees there. He also has hand swivel with a hinge, horizontal hinge there. That's pretty much all the articulation that his body has, but you can kind of, you know, swivel him on the stand there, but it doesn't have a ball joint. You're not going to be able to tilt down or anything with this, but I do, like I said before, appreciate the stand being very simple and almost transparent to the point that you don't really notice it. So there he is. Now, you can't put this on around his head without first removing his hat. But that's what I will show you first, is that you can remove just his hat. But again, no ears, which is kind of strange. But you could put that around his head and then pop his hat back on, and there you have Orko's hero medallion there complete, which is looking really good. Looking cool. It's got all this writing on his back there for some reason. But there he is. He's looking really neat. Now, let's go ahead and show you how to transform our Orko. We'll go ahead and transform our Orko into Montork. So, we'll put this other stand right there, and we've got another Orko here. So all we're going to do is basically remove the hat. Again, you see the ball joint up in there, and that's a dumbbell ball joint. Set that there, and then you're going to remove this black head with the pink scarf, and then you're going to take the scarf that has the beard. You're going to pop that right over there. Now the weird thing about that is the beard in the cartoon covered up the O, and here you can still see it, so that's a little unfortunate. I almost wish, again, that they had figured out a way to have done something, even if they had made that O just a little smaller so that it was covered up by the beard, would have been better. I'm kind of surprised they didn't think through this just a little bit more. They could have given us two hats, an orange hat for people that like the orange hats, and one red for people like me, like the red hat. But anyway, the smaller peg is for the hat, and the larger peg is for the head, as you see. So we'll just pop this back on, and because of those square eyes, here's a look at Uncle Montork from the cartoon. As you can see, square eyes, beard, no circle. At least you can't see it anyway. But that's alright, because we're gonna have these two right side by side, and just take a look at that. I can get that around there. There we go. Haha, looking cool. You have Orko and Uncle Montork. They're together at last. I never was able to get that 2-pack, San Diego Comic-Con 2-pack from years ago with classics that came with Driella and Uncle Montork, so I am very tickled that we got this one. I just wish if they were going to do it, they would have done it all the way. They could have packed in here a second outfit and even packed in a separate head and given us Orko, Uncle Montork, and Driella. That would have been perfect. But, as they say, you can't have it all. All right. So awesome to see these accessories all together here and see both of them together. And again, you can really see that O here. So I may just paint over that. get me some paint and paint over that when I paint the hats so that you won't see the O. But anyway, let's now look at some comparisons, Orko comparisons. And look at all the Orko figures that we have gotten. Here is our cartoon collection Origins Orko, which is so cool, and you can see Uncle Montork back there. And there's the Classics Orko, which it was probably the best, I would say, up until now. But I just felt like they got the colors all wrong. I mean, you know, his outfit shouldn't be that dark, nor should his bandana. The bandana looks a little bit, I don't know, too stiff looking. But they got the hat right. In my opinion, the hat is dead on there. They got the hat right. Why they're giving us this orange hat now, I don't understand. But they did that with the original Origins Orko back there. This is a little bit larger, kind of like the one that we had in the vintage. There's a picture of the original vintage Orko, the very first Orko action figure ever. But this one, I painted the hat red, and I like it better that way for me personally. You know, and there, like I said, stands that scream out, "Here I am!" And a lot of times I just replace, here's the Revelation Orko from Masterverse Revelation, the Netflix movie series. And of course, that's the way he was after he'd been banished with Man-at-Arms and Roboto. And so here he was, kind of in his rags. But very limited articulation, especially in the arms and hands. But the original, or I should say the first Origins Orko, had the same articulation as this Orko, except for the fact that the hat moves around now, and the hat didn't move around here. But anyway, there you have the comparisons with all of those. And then, of course, finally we have the Revolution Orko, when he came back from the dead, so to speak, or came out of the, you know, land or dimension of Despondos, which is kind of like Eternia's Hell. So there is the Revolution Orko, which I think he is really cool. But again, limited articulation in the arms and hands compared to our new one. So as far as Filmation is concerned, I would have to say I give the win overall in all of our incarnations. If I'm going to compare and say which one looks the most perfect for the cartoon, I would have to give it to this new cartoon collection Orko. I love it. I love the way they did the little, you know, waves around the cloth. You know, we didn't get that here, and we got a little bit of it here. This one, it also, you know, almost looks like he's floating going forward, whereas this one's like where he's hovering, the way it would do, I think. But that is so cool. Hope that they will bring Driella in the mix. We really need her. Driella was a cool character with her blonde hair peeping around the, the hat. But anyway, this is cool. And maybe that's why they didn't, and so we wouldn't have the O on the front. You know, but they could have thrown in an extra body part there, you know. But, you know, you can't have it all, like we said. But I love these comparisons here, and it's just neat how we can get different incarnations of Orko. But I think this one's my favorite, but I am going to paint one of my hats. Okay. All right, and here is our Cartoon Origins style Orko alongside of our Masterverse He-Man with the Hordak MX head Mundo style. Really like that. Then there's our Revolution Teela, Sorceress Teela, and our Revelation Man-at-Arms, all Masterverse, looking really good, even beside the Orko and Uncle Montork. And I like this because I can raise up those stands by putting those little jars. I got those little plastic jar things, a package of them. I think there was 10 in a pack from Target in the little, you know, $3 and $5 section. So I can just lift that up, and also put small parts in those little things, but you know, and covered up with a rock like this, and have him up there a little taller, because I think he fits in a little bit more with Origins with this stand, because he just looks too short if you set him down on the ground. But you know, I raised him up with the Masterverse figures here, so you can see how he looks with the Masterverse figures. Definitely like that. And let's go ahead and show you this also with the Prince Adam and Cringer. And here is Man-at-Arms, Sorceress Tila, and our Revelation Prince Adam with our Origins Cringer, which I love that he can go with the Masterverse stuff too, because I love Cringer. And I love Orko as well. These are kind of comic relief characters in the cartoon, but Masterverse is just not Motu without, you know, these characters. And I love the Orko and Cringer that look like the Filmation. I can definitely go with the Revolution, Revelation, Masterverse, Incarnations, New Eternia of all the figures. I like it. I really do, especially these characters right here. But when it comes to Cringer and Orko, I just prefer them looking like the cartoon, and that's what we have here. And also Uncle Montork. So I like it. I love it. All right, let's look at our Orko with some Origins figures. And here is our cartoon series Orko with our Origins cartoon series Prince Adam and Cringer and Tila, and of course Uncle Montork as well. And if you put him on the ground here with these, they look great. Still think he's big next to Tila. You know, Tila, I just feel like these female figures should be larger in scale. I wish they would correct that, but I guess it's a little too late now. But I still love the figures, but I just feel like they ought to be a little larger. And each time you put somebody else next to them, you kind of just see that more and more. Orko's features are just not in scale with Tila, but that is looking good. He's definitely in scale with the men, and like Prince Adam here and Cringer. So I love this Orko and even this Uncle Montork. And just to compare and throw him in here with one of my favorite lines of all time in Motu, and that's the Classics Club Grayskull Filmation style figures here. Prince Adam, Fisto, Man-at-Arms, Tila with a Hordak MX head sculpt, and even our Origins cartoon line Ram Man, because we really didn't ever get a Classics cartoon Club Grayskull Filmation style Ram Man, so he definitely fits in here, I think. And so does Uncle Montork, and of course this new Orko. Loving it. Don't have any eggs to splatter on top of Man-at-Arms head, but it'll be all right. But these are just looking amazing, epic. And I like the way this Orko fits in with this line, this group as well. All right. I hope you have enjoyed this review. Stay tuned for some photos in the photo gallery. Be blessed, and we'll see you next time on another SuperDave review. Take care.